Hi and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Supergrads. My name is Abhinav Chauhan, and I am ready with another session, students, on figures of speech. Why figures of speech? क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं figures of speech? That might be a question for everyone. If you go back and see the previous year papers of CUET 2022, 2023, 4, 5, हर साल एग्जाम में figures of speech के क्वेश्चन है. And trust me, वही I think around 20 to 25 figures of speech होते हैं जो हमें पढ़ने होते हैं. So here I have with some questions जो previous years में थे और आने वाले years में जो questions हो सकते हैं. So those of you who are preparing for CUET 2026, this session is super helpful for you guys. Let's quickly begin with the first question, students. And here is your first question, guys. So here is our first question for today's session. Rays of the sunshine danced through the trees. Hi there. Hi. Yes, I remember, beta. I hope you're doing well. I hope आपका college बढ़िया चल रहा है. So that was our first question. Rays of sunshine dance through the tree. Now, dancing is something, students, that we associate with human beings. Dancing is something that we associate with human beings. So when we give human traits to inanimate objects, when we apply these human traits to inanimate objects, that figure of speech is personification, given in option C, and that would be our correct answer, students. Given in option C, that is our correct answer. ठीक है. So I hope personification एक ऐसा figure of speech, students, जो एग्जाम में बार बार हर साल आया है. So if you're thinking कि is it important, is it not important, I think ये thought अब होना ही नहीं चाहिए. Yes, it is super important. Figures of speech में हमें सिर्फ around 20 to 25 पढ़ने होते हैं बस, और इसके अलावा आपके एग्जाम में कुछ भी नहीं होता है. So that was your first question. We are done with the first question now. Let's quickly move to the next one, guys. Here is your next question. Here is our next question, students, for today's session. Time was passing like a hand waving from the train. Now, the moment we start studying figures of speech, सबसे पहले हम दो figures of speech पढ़ते हैं हमेशा. That these figures of speech are used for similarities. So the first thing that we study, students, is simile. Of course, comparison के लिए we use simile, where you have words like and as, and metaphor is direct comparison. Metaphor is direct comparison. So it says time was passing like a hand waving from the train. So there is comparison between time and a hand that is waving from the train, using the words like and as. So it has to be simile, students. It has to be simile. A must be the correct answer for the second question of today's session. Yes, there, your answer is absolutely correct. Let's quickly move to the third question for today. The third question. क्या है third question? Can you people crack it? What are these figures of speech? Figures of speech like irony, paradox, oxymoron, antithesis. ये चारों फिगर ऑफ स्पीच सर एक साथ क्यों बता रहे हो, एक साथ डिस्कशन क्यों कर रहे हो? बिकॉज all of these are used for dissimilarity, for contradiction. Contradiction के लिए ये figures of speech use होते हैं, all of these. Now that means कि यार इनमें से ही of course कोई आंसर होगा यहाँ पर. So simile, we use simile when there is there are there is use of words like. Personification I think we have already discussed, जहाँ पे हम human quality किसी और पे, किसी inhuman, किसी inanimate object पर transfer करते हैं. Then we have pun. Pun is something that can be interpreted in two different ways. That can be interpreted in two different ways. And the correct answer here is oxymoron, students. Faith, unfaithful. Now what happens in oxymoron? There are two words of opposite meaning placed side by side. If you say the movie was pretty bad, pretty or bad, opposite meaning के word है side by side placed है, that is oxymoron. If you say now this is a confirmed rumor, so confirmed or rumor, opposite meaning के words, they are placed side by side, so that is exactly what oxymoron is. Correct answer to this question once again is option D. So ये चारों irony, paradox, antithesis, oxymoron, ये contradiction express करते हैं. So जब आप figures of speech पढ़ते हो, उसमें भी आप छोटे छोटे सब कैटेगरीज बना सकते हो. Like for comparison we have simile and metaphor. For contradiction we have these. For repetition we have assonance and alliteration. For representation we have metonymy and synecdoche. So that is how you can make subcategories among figures of speech. ये question हो गया. I am sure अब clarity है. I am sure आप oxymoron अब नहीं भूलोगे. Let's quickly move to the next question. Far-fetched fantasies of the tender mind. Now, as I said, there is one more category and that is for repetition. Repetition के लिए आप category बना सकते हो. So repetition के अंदर हमारे figures of speech होते हैं. Figures of speech like alliteration, like assonance, like anaphora and epiphora. चीजें सारी आसान हो सकती हैं अगर आप प्रॉपर स्ट्रैटेजी के साथ एग्जाम में जा रहे हो. So when you wish to study figures of speech, as I said, फिर से उसमें कैटेगरी बनाओ. These are the figures of speech for repetition different kinds का. For repetition of consonants we have alliteration. For repetition of vowels we have assonance. Then we have anaphora, which is for repetition of a word at the beginning of the sentence, और अगर कोई word last में repeat हो रहा है बार बार, so that is epiphora. इसके बारे में और डिटेल में पढ़ो. I'm sure you'll be able to crack what these four are and what is the difference between these four. Now far-fetched fantasy repetition of the F word and alliteration. Option C, alliteration would be the correct answer. अभी तक हम simile, personification, oxymoron पढ़ चुके. So I would say this was an easy one for you people. Let's move to the next question, students, and match the column format. NTA का super preferred format. NTA यहाँ पर आपसे बहुत question पूछता है, vocabulary के बहुत questions पूछता है in match the column format. And like I always say, match the column format आपके favor में है, because you don't need to know the meaning of all these. सारे नहीं भी पता है, एक दो भी पता है, that will work in your favor. So I'll give you time now to see this. So here's your question, students. Cooks conspire with the crooked king. I think this is an easy one. So C1 मुझे दिखना चाहिए. And as I said, अगर तुम्हें सारे नहीं भी पता है तो भी तुम्हारा काम आसान हो जाएगा. So C1, where do I see C1? I see that in option C. खत्म बात. How like a winter had my absence been thee? So this is again like लिखा हुआ है. So this is simile. B3, the rain poured down the wedding guest indifferent to their plans. So rain को pouring down and rain disturbing someone's plan. This is personification. And but soft what light. So again this is metaphor. कुछ नहीं करना था. Out of the 4 that you had, अगर आप एक भी पता था आपको, आप एक भी आंसर कर पाते, that would have worked in your favor, students. So that was your question. And Dhara has something to say. Yes. So Dhara, being one of the students, says कि सर हाँ बात तो सही है. एनटीए मैच द कॉलम फॉर्मेट में बहुत क्वेश्चंस पूछ रहा है. ठीक है. So that was your question, students. Here is the next one. On the seashore of endless words, 1,000 children meet. Now I think you know about all these figures of speech. कहाँ पर क्या यूज होता है. So कितना टाइम लोगे? 20 seconds? 30? चलो 30 seconds दिया, but I'm sure 30 seconds में आप आंसर कर पाएंगे. Here's your question. Here is your next question, students. On the seashore. So this is again comparison. Comparison है, but there is no use of words like. यहाँ पे as use नहीं हुआ. So when you don't have these words and there's direct comparison. हम ये नहीं कह रहे A is like B. We say A is B. When do we do that? We do that in metaphor, students. So this is metaphor. On the seashore of endless worlds, 1,000 children meet. So that was question number, I think that was question number 6 for you. And C has to be the correct answer. Let's quickly move to the next one. And थोड़ा सा अलग सा figure of speech आपको यहाँ पर दिखेगा. Again, I can give you 20 seconds. चलो 30 seconds दिया. But at the end of those 30 seconds, I want a correct answer here. So here is your next question, students. Let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. I think आप समझ गए हो मेरा इशारा किस तरफ है. As I said, repetition के लिए ये figures of speech use होते हैं. The first one is when there is repetition of consonant sound. The second one when there is repetition of vowel sound. Anaphora is when there is repetition of a particular word at the beginning of each sentence. And epiphora जहाँ पर word last पे होता है. Let's take you to that question. ये वो question है and I am sure अब आप आंसर जरूर कर पाएंगे. Because we have had a discussion around everything, I would say. So which literary device is in this example? Let freedom, let freedom, let freedom. यही लिखा हुआ है सब जगह. So anaphora. Anaphora कहाँ पर होता है? Anaphora का एक और एग्जाम्पल अगर मैं बोलूं, I came, I saw, I conquered. This is again an example of anaphora, repetition of this word at the beginning. So correct answer, anaphora, students. Anaphora is the correct answer to this question. So good job there. Your answer is correct. जो पढ़ाया था भूले नहीं हो अभी तक, which is very good to see. Let's move to the next question. Truth be told, she wasn't unhappy with her new cars. And यहाँ पर एक और figure of speech अगर आप देखो, onomatopoeia, we will have a discussion around it. पहले ये आंसर करते हैं. Truth be told, she wasn't unhappy with her new cars. Here is the next question. So wasn't unhappy. ठीक है. So when there are negative things, when there are negative words, ये कहां पर होता है? It happens in litotes. It happens in litotes, students. So litotes, given in option C, is the correct answer to this question. और litotes भी अब एग्जाम में आने लगा है. अर्लियर आई थिंक नहीं होता था, वही कॉमन फिगर्स ऑफ स्पीच होते थे, सिमिली, मेटाफर, पर्सोनिफिकेशन, हाइपरबोल. बट अब litotes, metonymy, synecdoche, these kind of figures of speech are getting more popular in the NTA CUET exam. So here is our next question, students. Here the sledges with the bells, silver bells, what a world of Maryland. So onomatopoeia क्या होता है? Onomatopoeia are sounds. Basically the words that are made by the sounds they produce. Like boom, pop sound, tick tock of clock, ding dong of bell. So these are all examples. These are all examples of onomatopoeia. Words that are words because of the sound they produce. So firecracker explode होता है, boom sound आता है, ऐसा sound आता है, तो boom एक word बन गया. आप साइंस केमिस्ट्री लैब में कुछ एक्सपेरिमेंट कर रहे हो, there's a pop sound, ऐसा कुछ, so वो एक word बन गया. So यहाँ पे जो लिखा हुआ है tinkle tinkle and these kind of things, ये sounds हैं of course. These are all sounds, and because these are the words that are words because of the sound they produce, so it has to be nothing else than onomatopoeia. So onomatopoeia is the correct answer to this question, students. And if you people are planning, if you are in that zone of कि सर मैं 1000 out of 1000 लाना चाहता हूँ, मैं इंग्लिश में फुल मार्क्स लाना चाहता हूँ, ला सकते हो. I don't doubt that, but that's only possible when you have the proper strategy to things. अभी भी बहुत बच्चे सीयूईटी एग्जाम को बहुत हल्के में लेते हैं, दे फील हो जाएगा. कर सकते हो, अच्छी बात है, बट आई वुड रिकमेंड अकेडमिक इंग्लिश और कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम के इंग्लिश में थोड़ा सा फर्क होता है. For that you need proper strategy. For that you should book a one-to-one mentorship session where you'll get career counseling, section-wise syllabus breakdown, and this word is very important, smart preparation strategy. आप कितना अच्छा पढ़ रहे हो that is secondary. अगर आपके पास strategy अच्छा है, I am sure आप ये achieve कर पाओगे. So I wonder what you people are waiting for. Session आप अपना बुक कराइए, one-to-one mentorship session, and trust me, आपको बहुत फायदा होने वाला है CUET preparation में. So that was your discussion about strategy. Let's move back again to what we were discussing. We were discussing literary devices. We were discussing figures of speech. एक ऐसा टॉपिक जो एग्जाम में तुम्हें 5 मार्क्स दे के जाने वाला है, 5 मार्क्स देकर जाने वाला है. The person we speak of is an openly secretive man. Openly secretive man. और ये देखते से ही I'll start scratching my head. Openly secretive. Openly secretive. There are two words of opposite meaning juxtaposed together. Juxtaposed का मतलब they are placed side by side, आजू बाजू रख दिया. So when we have such words, we say it is oxymoron. Oxymoron, given in option A, is your correct answer to this question, students. Here is the next question. Here is the next question. here is our next question, students. So it's a question basically, and apostrophe is the correct literary device used here. Apostrophe में इसी तरीके के questions होते हैं, moral questions जो हम बोलते हैं. So that is what it is. A is the correct answer to this question, students. Let's move to the next question. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. ये किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में लिखा हुआ है? ऑफ कोर्स नील आर्मस्ट्रॉन्ग बीइंग द फर्स्ट मैन टू लैंड हिज फुट ऑन द मून, तभी तभी का ये स्टेटमेंट है, तभी का ये डायलॉग है. सो व्हाट इज पैरेललिज्म? नाउ पैरेललिज्म में क्या होता है? व्हेन यू हैव वर्ड्स ऑफ ऑपोजिट मीनिंग बट द नंबर ऑफ वर्ड्स आर सेम ऑन बोथ साइड्स. सो वन स्मॉल स्टेप, ठीक है, और इसका ऑपोजिट हुआ वन जाइंट लीप. And number of words भी comma के आगे पीछे they are almost same. So this is parallelism, students. This is parallelism. Let's move to the next question. Seeing her, they stood still, frozen statues on the plain. Now this is, what do you think should be the correct answer to this question, students? Those of you who are watching now, I would request इसका आंसर आप मुझे चैट सेक्शन में बताओगे, because there have been times जब मैं आपको होमवर्क नहीं दे रहा हूँ. Is it allegory? Is it personification? आंसर तब कर पाओगे जब आप फिगर्स ऑफ स्पीच अच्छे से पढ़ोगे. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखते हैं स्टूडेंट्स. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन गाइस. Next question. The farm buildings huddled. Now huddle is something that human beings make. Farm buildings को हम huddle में कैसे डाल सकते हैं? So this is personification. There are other examples. Crouched low. Mountains crouch low. Now crouching is again something जो हम humans करते हैं. हम mountains को crouch करा रहे हैं. That means we are using personification in this part. We are using personification in this piece of writing. So that should be the correct answer to this question, students. Moving on. Parting is such a sweet sorrow. Sweet sorrow. Sweet sorrow. I think बहुत सारा hint मैं आपको दे चुका हूँ. And as I said earlier, when we have two words of opposite meanings juxtaposed together, juxtaposed, that means they are placed side by side. Words of opposite meaning यहाँ पे क्या है? Words are sweet and sorrow. So the literary device that is used is oxymoron. Oxymoron एक ऐसा literary device wherein words of opposite meanings are juxtaposed together. They are placed side by side. And यही इस question में था, and B इस question का answer होना चाहिए. Moving on to the next question, students. Next question. Next question. Our last impression of her as she turned the corner was that smile flung backward like a handful of flowers. So her smile was like a handful of flowers, बहुत सारे flowers की तरह. अच्छा स्टेटमेंट है, बट देन अगेन हमें अच्छे स्टेटमेंट में फंस नहीं जाना है. हमें ध्यान देना है कौन सा फिगर ऑफ स्पीच है यहाँ. एंड द फिगर ऑफ स्पीच हियर इज simile, students, क्योंकि यहाँ पे like लिखा हुआ है. Smile, person's smile is compared with flowers. Flowers से comparison किया है, and they have used like also. तो like use हुआ है, इसलिए there has to be simile in this question. Moving on to the next question. Expect nothing, live frugally on surprise. So this is an old saying. ठीक है, ये जो old sayings होती है ना, old sayings like a penny saved is a penny earned. a penny saved is a penny earned. तो ये जितनी भी old sayings होती है, these are known as adage and these are known as aphorism. Aphorism, adage. So expect nothing. ये लाइफ की saying है, बहुत सारे ऐसे जो common proverbs होते हैं, common sayings होते हैं of old times, they are known as adage or aphorism. So यहाँ पे aphorism इसका correct answer है. Of course ऐसा नहीं होगा कि एक ही क्वेश्चन में ये दोनों ऑप्शन में हो, नॉट पॉसिबल. सो दैट वाज योर क्वेश्चन स्टूडेंट्स, एंड दैट ब्रिंग्स अस टू द लास्ट क्वेश्चन ऑफ टुडेज सेशन. लिटरेरी डिवाइसेस का लास्ट क्वेश्चन. सो आई एम प्रीटी श्योर पूरे सेशन में आपको ये जरूर समझ में आया कि फिगर्स ऑफ स्पीच लिटरेरी डिवाइसेस पढ़ना कैसे है, पढ़ना कैसे. और अगर आपके और भी कोई डाउट होंगे, सो ऑफ कोर्स वी हैव द कमेंट सेक्शन. कमेंट सेक्शन में मुझे बताओ कि सर ये टॉपिक परेशान कर रहा है, इसके ऊपर सेशन लेकर आओ. आई विल कम अप विद इट. हियर्स द क्वेश्चन. ओ माय गॉड, आई हैवंट सीन यू इन मिलियन इयर्स. रियली मिलियन इयर्स थोड़ा ज्यादा हो गया, थोड़ा बढ़ा चढ़ा के हो गया, थोड़ा एग्जैजरेशन हो गया. एंड व्हेन वी डू दैट, द फिगर ऑफ स्पीच इज हाइपरबोल स्टूडेंट्स, वेयरइन we exaggerate things. Million years थोड़ा ज्यादा हो गया, ठीक है. So that was all students, that was all for today's discussion. I'm sure you people have clarity कि figures of speech literary devices पढ़ना कैसे. I'll see you guys now in the next live session. Till then, if you have any doubts, comment section आपका है, आप मुझे अपनी any problem that you have related to CUET 2026 वहां पर शेयर कर सकते हो. I'll come up with a solution for it. That's all for today. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.